They say we have become a consumer society that is interested in nothing but its own comfort. And you know, if it weren't for people like our hero today, I probably would have believed it myself. Sanduk Ruit was born in 1954 in a rural area far away in the mountains of Nepal. There were only 200 people living there at the time, and it was an almost completely isolated village that had not been reached by civilization. There were 4 children in the family. The family was poor and could not afford to visit a doctor, so the parents lost 3 of their children. Of course, the family felt very badly about what had happened. Sanduk was 13 years old at the time, and he remembers everything perfectly. He saw his mother's endless tears, his father's despair, who decided to send his son to India so that he could get an education and be closer to doctors in case he needed them. His parents worked so that Sanduk would have a chance for a better future. Every 3 months, they sent him money to pay his tuition, buy food and clothing. The boy understood what it was costing his parents and did his best. Six years later, the young man, who was about to turn 19, received an invitation from the Metropolitan Medical University for the position of ophthalmologist. He graduated with honors and moved on to America, then Austria, and then the Netherlands. For a country boy from a godforsaken village, this was a tremendous achievement. But Sanduk himself didn't see it that way. "I haven't helped anyone yet. I haven't cured anyone. When I do, then you can talk about my merits," Sanduk told a Nepali newspaper. He had traveled extensively throughout India and Nepal to understand the situation with eye disease. Everywhere he went, he came across elderly people with cataracts. It was the #1 disease that made the old people unable to work, unable to do household chores, and it made them a burden on the family. He was determined to find a way to help them by all means. Working in Austria in 1986, he developed a strategy to treat cataracts by replacing the cloudy lens with an artificial lens. It was a real breakthrough, since no one in the world had done so before him. But that did not solve the problem. The elderly people in India and Nepal couldn't afford the expensive treatment because the production of the lens cost a lot of money and the surgery itself was very expensive. Wealthy people, of course, used this technology and were fine, but what about the poor people? After all, Sanduk himself was from a family that was struggling to survive, that had lost their children because they simply couldn't pay for the surgery. His goal was still to help people who couldn't do it for themselves. It took Sanduk another 5 years to find a way to make the same quality lens but at a lower cost. The cheap lenses had exactly the same success rate in restoring vision as the expensive lenses. Within 6 months, 98% of patients had their vision restored. In 1994, Sanduk Ruit founded the Talganga Eye Center in the capital of Nepal, where over 500 doctors from around the world were trained in the new technique of eye lens replacement. Thanks to this technique, patients were able to regain their sight at this clinic. And you won't believe it, but at this clinic, one eye lens costs less than $5. In addition, Sanduk Ruit also came up with cheaper analogs of the artificial eye. Instead of $150, his invention costs only $3. And despite the very low cost of the lens, many poor people in Nepal still cannot afford such a surgery. For many, even getting to the capital is too difficult and expensive. Can you imagine? But even that didn't stop Sanduk in his desire to help everyone in need. So he organized to do such operations for the poor for free, not even taking $3 and $5. And for residents of remote areas, he organized special mobile mini clinics on wheels which periodically travel around the country. This raises a logical question. Where does the foundation get its money from? From sponsors, obviously. For example, one of these angels of the Sanduk Foundation is the well-known actor Joel Edgerton. He has donated a lot of money to the foundation, which has given sight back to hundreds of people. Every year, Joel visits the clinic and personally sees the patients, for which he is specially praised. Thanks to people like Joel, today Sanduk Ruit does his job, and today he is loved and respected all over the world. No one questioned why he was helping these poor people, because everyone understood that if it weren't for him, no one would have done it. Sanduk is the only such doctor in the history of Nepal, and in India in general, who has given sight to 100,000 people for free. Although at the same time this video was released, he must have saved several dozen more lives and returned the joy of seeing. It's scary to imagine what life would have been like for all these people if not for this miracle doctor with his big heart. What would have happened to this child who was born with congenital cataracts? What life awaited him ahead? But then, Sanduk and his big team show up and they gave the boy a new life. And the way he reacts to gaining his sight touched the hearts of millions. This footage has become a symbol of the faith, love and hope that Sanduk brings the world, and as I said in the beginning, as long as there are people like him, our world will not be wasted. Well, what else can I add to the story except just to worship this man? To say thank you for his open, kind heart. If you think about it, the fact that he did this is not even heroism, it is greatness. It is something greater. It is something divine and you have to strive for it. You have to take small steps to catch up. We could have done a lot of useful things for the world, but for some reason we have not. And so, little by little, we can rehabilitate ourselves with small deeds. I'm not talking about such global projects as Sanduk does, but even a little good for the world is a great value. Be a magnet, attracting only the best into your life. I think that thought has reached your heart. See you soon.
Thank you.